NATO is the most dangerous organization on earth, even though you never heard about it. And that's why we, the Anti-Imperialist Front and the OCF, Organisation Communiste de France, and other anti-imperialist organizations are launching an international call against it. Next 4th April, we invite you to join our gathering against NATO. Originally, the North Atlantic Treaty of Organization is a military alliance created in 1949 by Western bourgeoisie headed by the United States to prevent communist uprising after World War II in Europe, while at this time Communist Party was the most powerful and popular political parties. But also, NATO's aim was to fight the USSR, which was, it's important to remember, primarily responsible for the defeat of the imperialist fascist Germany in many ways. In reality, NATO's goal is not only to constrain the development of any communist parties or anti-colonial forces, but also to enable US influence to governments all around the world. And that's why, even after the fall of the USSR in 1991, NATO continued to exist and to bomb every country that tried to oppose US imperialism. To achieve this imperialist goal, NATO used fascist forces and the most inhuman crimes imaginable on behalf of, human rights, freedom or democracy, etc. While the same guys who lead NATO are part, for most of them, of the famous Epstein files since its inception. NATO strived to attack every people in struggle against imperialism overseas. In Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, etc. NATO occupied Afghanistan for decades, murdered hundreds of thousands of Afghans. It bombed Yugoslavia during a bloody war it launched itself. NATO literally destroyed the most prosperous country in Africa, Gaddafi's Libya, because of his will to create unity between African countries against imperialism. As I speak, Libya is completely divided. There are open-air slave auctions, and Islamist terrorists are terrorizing the civilian population because of NATO's oil greed. That's the reason why NATO is hated by the whole world. And no, NATO is fighting the war in Ukraine, in Africa, in the Middle East, everywhere, with our money, It's important to remember that NATO's members are really puppets of the United States. While they say that they no longer have money to feed people, that it's time for belt tightening, etc. They put $billions in arms industry, in military bases, in the imperialist wars. They send hundreds of thousands of people to get killed for the interests of large corporations. And just imagine for a moment if China or Russia had a military alliance they will use to bombing countries and building military bases all around the world. Just consider if China or Russia were recruiting in this alliance more than half the countries of Europe, and that they would place missiles at the gates of France or of the United States. What would you say? Not to talk about NATO is totally irresponsible. It is objectively placing oneself on the side of the imperialists. Next 4th April, we invite you to join our gathering against NATO. For the peace, for the resistance against imperialism.